Okay, in this video I'm going to be talking about the cards and the app here. Didn't get to do it in the last video, but here it is, the rule booklet. So, if you're looking at it's basically in PDF form. Looks real nice, looks just like the book. Of course, you can read it in the dark or, when you're going to bed or something. So I like that. I like having everything on an iPad, which is good, but, then people can't really look at it. The great thing about having the rule booklet here is that, let's say, you don't know what the stormtrooper is. So you look at the stormtrooper and then you click search, you type it in the search bar, you click search, and bam, it goes right to, went to, went to that one. Okay, well, went to the index and it showed you what page to go to, and that's 71. So you just flip through 71, I guess. The other time I did it, it went right to the Stormtrooper page. That's 81, so we go to 71 here. And it would highlight it. So let me try it again. Click here, search. Well, that's a fail. Oh well. It was working before. Of course, now you can see at Battlefront this is a problem. Can't make it go to the index. Also, one thing that I liked about some other company is that if you clicked on it, it would go to, you click on transport teams or this page, whatever, it would flip to that page. Here you got to flip through it. So it's really just a PDF with a search bar that apparently isn't as good as I thought it was. All right, getting to the cards. The cards are a really, really good idea. These are the command cards. They're only $5 and it is super worth it. The reason why I say that is because, remember, I was talking about that this is just the base book. Okay, they only have, Crusaders, Stuarts, infantry, or grants. So, I mean, that's all they have. They don't have anything special. But here, if you want to get a new force, a New Zealand Divisional Cavalry, it doesn't cost you anything, but it just gives you another force structure. So we look at New Zealand. This is honey tanks, okay? So normally, if you were to go to the book and get a Honey Stuart force, okay? So here it is. You've got a headquarters, you've got a troop, a honey armored or a grant, and then 2 more honey armored. This one gives you a headquarters unit, 1 to 2 honey armored, and then 1 to 4 universal carriers. So that's what the difference is that here you have to take 3 or 4 honeys for your HQ, and this one it's only 2 honey tanks for 3 points. So if you want a stripped down version of this, then you go with the New Zealand Cavalry and you get universal carrier patrols in your force. So before, in here, you can only get the universal carriers if you take infantry. Let me turn to infantry real fast. So if you take infantry, you get a universal carriers and you put 2 in there. But say you don't have infantry. The only way that you can get a universal carrier is right over here, and they don't count towards morale. But if you get this, now they're in a force, so they're good to go. And they're pretty hard to kill if you're smart with them, and you just use them really to start. That was something I didn't go over in the rules. The spearhead is really awesome right now. You get to do your move and then basically expand your deployment zone because of it. Awesome, awesome rule. The one that I like better, though, is the Australian Divisional Cavalry. It does Crusaders instead. So you get a Crusader HQ, just 2 Crusader, 2 tanks for 3 points. And then you get a Crusader armored, and then you could choose either Honey or another Crusader. And then, of course, a Universal Carrier Patrol. The reason why I like this one better than the New Zealand is because what we find in our games, I'm not playing infantry, and the headquarters for the Crusaders, you have to have 2 CSs in there. And CSs are great for smoke bombardment, for beating up on infantry, but going up against tanks, anti-tank 5, you're not going to be blowing up too many tanks unless you're going up against light tanks like a Panzer II or something. So I never really liked them all too much. And you know, if you're going to get that, then you might as well get universal carriers, and they'd be able to push up with your extended deployment zone. So I like that for just getting rid of the CSs. You get 3 points. So instead of getting 2 CSs, and which are almost useless a lot of times, and then 1 Crusader for 5 points, you could just pick up 2 Crusaders for 3 points as your HQ. So I like that a lot, and this is what I'm talking about. That you know, if they start putting out other cards for battles, they don't even have to put out a book. Just a $5 card deck about another battle, you know, Tunisia or whatever. They don't have to have the books. And if they do that, if they said, okay, we're battle Tunisia, Africa Corps, or Desert Rats in Tunisia cards, and that, you know, these cards wouldn't be good for, because this would be something separate, let's say, but the Tunisia ones would then tack on top of this to give you the type of flavor that North Africa gave you originally. Then I'm really into what they're doing. If that's what Battlefront's going to be doing, I'm really into it. I think that's an awesome idea, because one thing that happened in Hellfire and Back was that they got the points wrong, or they got, you know, the force structure wasn't quite good, or the rules, you know, there's no way to really go back and do it. I mean, they sent stickers and everybody hated it, even though it worked and did a good job. It was a real pain to do the book. But if you just have a bare bones book, and then have something where, you know, maybe you have these things, and then on the card they have the new force structure. So basically they take out the 17 pounders or the Crusaders or whatever and replace it with something else. Then if they just have it on these cards, then it's okay, I'm doing a Tunisian, you know, 7th Armored Division for the British, and this is the card that I'm going to be using. And then they got all these other things that you can tack onto it to explain everything, instead of using a book. I think that would be good. Or maybe both. Maybe they'll put out like an addendum book and one of these. And just, there's a lot of possibilities here that they can do a lot of cool things here, which is why I'm jazzed up about it. Now, the British cards are much better than the German cards. I'll just say that right now. The German cards, they just don't, there's a bunch of cards in there for the Tigers, but it's so expensive. It doesn't make any sense. But there's a lot of synergy here, like with the Australian Cavalry, New Zealand. You can get these Crusaders and Honey Stewarts, and then there's other things in here like Captured Tank, Sticky Bombs to help enhance your force. But these right here, Pip Roberts, John Curry, Guards Motor Company is really good. You know, so you can make your infantry have a last stand rating of 3 instead of 4, which helps them not run away. So there's a lot of, you know, Indian Motor Company makes them better during assaults. Then, you know, everybody's like, where's the transports? Well, here they are. Here's the card for the transports. So you could pay a point, and then, you know, you can get this unit. And here are the stats for it. This is what I'm talking about, where they can add things as they go along. Where are the Shermans? Where are this? Well, wait for the card deck for Tunisia or Sicily or Southern Italy or something like that. And now we're doing really well. So, you know, Artillery Expert, it helps you with your artillery. For King Country, makes, you know, basically you automatically pass a test for last stand if they're within the main commander. So a lot of cool cards. Now the one that it's probably on the bottom. Here we go, Scout Tanks. All right, so this is the synergy that I'm talking about. The Scout Tanks, something that is really people are not. Something I really didn't like about the Crusaders is that, you know, they run away real fast. Their tactics are terrible. Yeah, they get +2. Big stinking deal. I don't like the +2 movement with all that stuff. So basically with the Scout Tanks, you pay 1 point for your entire force. So every Steward, every Crusader now gets this Scout Tank. So what happens is tanks that have Tally-Ho attribute lose Tally-Ho but gain Scout. And they have tactics rating of 4 up and is hit on 4 up. Their tactical speed is reduced to 12 for the Crusaders and 10 for the Honey Sturts. So you look at this right here, you get hit on a 3. That's, that's basically trained. Being hit on 3 was trained. They lose 2 inches of their movement. So, oh well, yeah, you lose 2 inches. That can be a little tough, but I'm willing to take that so that they get their tactics rating back to a 4 and back to a 4 here, which is basically like a veteran. So I like that for that. And then on Scav, they're gone to ground while moving. So if they don't shoot and they're in terrain, then they get another +1, so they're even harder to hit. So if they're in terrain and they didn't shoot, this is +4, +1 for the terrain, plus another one for gone to ground. So now you got to hit them on a 6. Makes them much more durable, and especially if you've got palm trees or some other thing that can, wall or whatever, to make them more concealed. So they have a little bit more staying power. But that's not the beauty of it. So now, remember, they lose the tally-ho on this tank. What that means is that you can get a guy like Pip Roberts. Yeah, he's 4 points. But it says tank units that do not have tally-ho have a tactics rating of 3. So now this goes down to a 3 on all your tanks. So if you've got a bunch of Crusaders, which are dirt cheap, and the Stewarts, now you have a tally-ho. They do a tactics on 3-ups. Now you can do, you can jump out or do a shoot and scoot, whatever you need to do. Now it's like the Germans, so you're in good shape there. And then on top of that, here's the coup de grace. Yes, it's 8 points. I know it's a lot of points, but tank units in this force that do not have tally-ho have a last standing of 3-up. So they had 5-up, and now it's going to go to 3-up. It's going to be very tough. One reason why I'm beating my friend a lot is because his tanks don't stand. They run away, and then he loses his tanks, and it's just it becomes a problem for him. So, having this synergy here is really nice. You don't see that in the German cards, and I was a little disappointed by the German cards, but their units are so good anyway. You don't quite need them as much as the British. British need them a little bit more, but there's such great synergy here for the British. Okay, my next video, I'm going to go over the objective cards. So see you next video.